next holiday, then we have Republic Day, we have African Emancipation Day.
The content provided in this program is an independent production.
Listen.
The views and opinions expressed are solely those of the individuals involved who express them. They do not necessarily reflect the official policies, positions, or endorsements of the hosting platform Bounce Up Central Media Network or its affiliates. Bounce Up Central Media Network does not warrant or guarantee.
I catch her remember Felicia and she whole name Lorna Ortega Manette, whole name, you know. Hi Ruth fan, thank you all for always coming to hang out with me. Hi Carol. It's always a pleasure. I do this too because you are always here with me. Because you know I could talk. I'm going to have people to talk, but I love all the being with me. So you know, just give me the real energy and the vibes. So today we're going to Mixx and Mingle. Today's Friday, people tell everybody log on and listen, man. We have to really sing the anthem, you know, and we have to sing it and put we hand against our chest, and we have to look at the flag and say, God bless our nation. Every creed and race find an equal place. Listen to me now. Let me say the pledge one time. I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I'll honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, my elders, and all those in authority. I'll be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. And I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the great happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country. Hi Dandy, hi Denise. We are sticking. Let me tell you something. Me are perfect. No man perfect. But one thing, I was trying my best to be truthful and honest in the things I do. You may not like the things I do sometimes. You might find that offensive. You might find my voice loud. You might find a playing all kind of things get fine. But at the end of the day, nobody can tell you that Rasta woman does lie. They can't tell you that. They might say they don't like what I'm saying because I hit the nail on the head. But it is what it is, right? If I wrong in something, well, they tell me. Hi Philo, hi Christopher, hi Gloria, Lydia, Lazare, Green. Whole name. If I say something Latin thing, or they could tell me, look it over, come back and say, that's how you get this. What you see with me is what you get. Me have 2 and 3 self. I live in my authentic self. This is my authentic self. Me hiding no way. So, good news. Hi Rhonda Alcantara Polidor. Hey, Polidor. I remember that name, you know. Hi Diamond Trini Jewels. And hey, if I tell all I love all I know, they feel I lie. Hi Winston. Let me start the thing now. I've seen some names here. Miss Polydor was Mr. Polly family. Hi Miss Angela Roger Lacroix. All of them come up to a long name. I got to put up my long name just now too. Hi Agasso. What do you think? Oh yeah, we mixing and mingling today. So I see that there's some what you call it in boy? Something PTSD, some technology upgrades to improve PTSD service. Been there and done that, and hi Julia. And Julia, we've been there and done that, yeah, but they're modernizing TSTT, PSTT and all kind of thing. PTSD, I mean. So this was in Loop News. They say 8 hours ago, technology upgrades to improve PTSD service. So Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation, Eli Zakur, has fast-tracked discussion with the executive management of the Public Transport Service Corporation on modernizing the country's public transportation system. Technology is expected to play a pivotal role in the way forward. Isn't that obvious, Minister Sokol? Everything is going that way. Central to the initiative is the rollout of PTSC New Network Operations Center, NOC, which will provide real-time travel information to both commuter and operators. I wonder who get the contract. The system is intended to improve fleet monitoring, scheduling, and dispatching, delivering a more reliable and responsive service to the public. Apart from the NOC, several priority areas will be addressed to support improved commuter experiences and greater operational efficiency. These include the expansion of routes of underserved communities, improve arrival and departure accuracy, times, and enhance commuter communication via digital tools. Minister Zakur stressed his commitment to working hand in hand with the corporation to address existing gaps and strengthen its capacity. The efforts are meant to position the PTSC where it's delivering dependable, efficient, and modern public transport services that meet the needs of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Oh God, it was so nice, it was so good, everything. And then I had to wait for a few minutes later. So, Minister Zakur, we wait to see your transformation of PTSC. No. I have been asking and asking. I'm going to put on some Queen's English here. I've been asking and asking. I ordered a song. Tell me some of the things that the opposition leader and political leader of the PNM has done. Tell me. Because when I say that I think that she's a weak leader, people get upset. So I said, tell me what she has done. Because I haven't seen anything that she has done that will make me believe that she is a strong leader to lead a party, especially one in opposition. So nobody has said me nothing. So I said, let me go and look for myself, Papa. Let me see if I could find something. So I went and I looked and I looked and I looked. And this is what I saw. I saw her. There she was shaking hands with the candidate for Couva West, I think it was. So. Right, she's friendly, you know that. Right, I will see something else.
At this statue, Orlin Roberts, the Lord Kitchener statue, the statue was unveiled on the 13th of August 1994 by then Alderman Rosalie Mayor Marima. And I am here laying this wreath in celebration of the life of Lord Kitchener Orlin Roberts, paying tribute to him. Today, the 11th of February 2022 will have been some 20.
Right? So she was laying the wreath there at a site for the late great California Orlin Roberts, we know as Lord Kitchener. And so we know she...
Yes, since she passed on the 11th of
February.
February.
Right.
After a 10-year wait, the borough of Arima has a new community center. The community's...
Right. So, we saw her was shaking hands with the candidate for Shogunas West, so she's friendly. And then we saw her putting a wreath down for the late Lord Kitchener at his statue. So, she knows about the culture and she has humanity. Now listen to this.
The center was officially opened today, Thursday, by the Member of Parliament for Arima, Penelope Beckles, and the Minister of Sport and Community Development, Shamfa Kaju. Ms. Beckles recalled that during her last incarnation as Member of Parliament, there were many heated debates over the construction of a new community center in Arima. She said the commissioning of the new community center brings her special joy, as there were also concerns that a new facility would not be built.
sometimes conflicts arose because the days of the year and the facility were not sufficient to accommodate the many requests to host various events. I'm extremely pleased that this facility, occupying 9,500 square feet and sitting on over 25,000 square feet of land, encompasses a kitchen, a gym, a changing room, a stage, an audiovisual room, and an elaborate computer lab and an auditorium.
Of Sports and Community Development, Chamfa Kaju said community centers serve as engine rooms for communities where residents prepare for citizenship through group activities. She challenged the residents of Arima to make good use of the community center and to conserve the energy and water.
That the opposition leader, political leader PNM, should have also opened or cut the ribbon to open the community center in Arima. So she did that. Okay, let me see what again she did.
So let me just acknowledge the President of the Dark Association, Mr. Hills, all other members of the executive. I am just happy that you have selected Arima as the constituency to have the the tournament today. So I'm just passing through. I'm just welcoming you to my constituency and to say that I'm enjoying it. It's not a game that I'm very familiar with. Nothing wrong with saying that. So I'm trying a little thing. I had a quick little tutorial. I improved in a few minutes.
So we see her there opening at that competition in Arima. Great. So let's see this here now. Right. So we see her there dancing in the streets in Arima to kitchen or music. So we know she could dance. Let me see this one here.
I am Skinner. Oh, I'm on my way to my granddaughter's house where I'll get nice and fast. Why don't you eat me on my way home? All right, said the tiger, but don't be too long. I am hungry. And the tiger disappeared, and she walked.
So that was her dear to children in her community from one of the schools. So what have we learned? Because nobody's telling me what the opposition leader and political leader has done that makes her this strong woman who can lead the People's National Movement and be a strong leadership. So I went and I looked and I found where she was shaking the hand of the member, the candidate for Covers West or something. So we know she's friendly. We see her dancing in the street, so we know she could dance to the calypso music. We see her laying a wreath at Alden Roberts' statue, late great Lord Kitchener. We saw her reading to the children. We saw her opening the community center in Arima. We saw her welcoming the dad competition in Arima. Then somewhere else I saw she cut a coconut. You can't cut coconut, so she cut a coconut by herself and drink it. She was making bread. She was doing some sick fighting last time and all that. Okay. And to me, those are things that a member of parliament would do. That doesn't mean to say that she was a good leader. I was looking for more things than that. What policy you implemented, what legislation you helped pilot, things like that, What benefits it brought to Trinidad and Tobago, not just a constituents, because a member of parliament, that is what you're supposed to do. So I haven't found anything, people, and I want to be fair. I did look. Those are some of the things I found. If you all find anything else, let me know. So let me continue. So I'm seeing that Tobago having some challenges, and it's speaking about long-standing contracts for teachers. So let me hear what he has to say.
We have the Chief Secretary, the Secretary of Education as well, both former contract teachers. One of them played a role in carrying the division to court. The chief secretary is surprisingly silent. I'm hardly hearing him talk about anything regarding education. But we are still here talking about audit. So this is my demand. Elections is coming up. I want to be able to support the chief secretary and the secretary of the campaign about what they did for contract teachers. Not what they plan to do, why this didn't work, who to blame. But they said that tutors did not fight for this hard enough. As the Mingle officer, I'm out here fighting for it consistently. And there is nothing tangible coming from the division more than somebody in an audit.
Tutor Tobago Officer Braden Roberts as he spoke with TV6 News in Scarborough. He said contracted teachers' years of service are being taken for granted.
The education system does not benefit from these teachers as they are used as laborers. They are not able to become head of department, vice principal, dean, or principal. So all their years service is just to use as a laborer on the bottom of the food chain. There is no seniority for these contract teachers. Some of them have 20 years experience that we are not able to benefit from. The individual teacher as well with these 3-year contracts are not able to get any significant financial aid with the letter of tenure as it's short term. So we want to fix the education system. So it's not just the contract teacher alone we are fighting for. The education system needs to benefit from more experienced persons who can serve in management positions.
Mr. Roberts said the issue must be dealt with promptly.
And the audit is understandable if you're collecting data. However, we have never moved past collecting data. That is one thing we have done in Trinidad and Tobago is collecting data. We have audits of 2014. There was a task force and did some work in 2023. However, we are 2025 and still talking about audits. I think ministry is playing a role in.
In addition, the issue of leave classification to be authorized in Trinidad must be changed. At present, if a teacher utilizes all 14 days sick leave, documents have to be sent to Trinidad to be classified and later returned to Tobago. When contacted on the matter, former contracted teacher and the Education Secretary Zarisha Hackett said, following a meeting with Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissassa, the newly elected central government has expressed its commitment to resolving this matter promptly once all due diligence is completed by the Division of Education. She said in the interim, the division has taken proactive steps to promote equity among educators. Salaries for contracted teachers have been adjusted in line with those of their permanently appointed counterparts. Additionally, the audit of arrears has been completed and teachers are expected to receive retroactive payments in short order. Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News.
Right? So that's their contracted workers, teachers especially, and you hear them talking about retroactively getting the money from where the permanent teachers already get the money, and you hear nothing about public service association, you hear nothing about public officers under 10%, you hear nothing about the start of no negotiation from 10%. The public service gets silent, nobody calling. They ain't cussing me because we don't say nothing again. I go do it. They ain't calling out Felicia, they ain't saying nothing. Felicia and them whine on their head and get away with it. Liberty's whine on their head and get with it. This Minister Labour. She talking about she gained the government gold star and all kind of thing for what's that? And public officers remain on 2013 salaries. I'm laughing because you know what, if I don't laugh I might cry. Because all they take chain up, all they take set up, all they want the 4%, all they want the 5%, all they was waiting till UNC come in to start negotiation at 10%. You don't hear nothing about oh God, I don't want to cry because my powder might start to run. And I don't have a good makeup person like PM2 Barry. He doesn't have one makeup. That powder will be pat down real good. He don't sweat nothing, no be out of place. Whoever styling he they go do it. So let me continue, Papa. So it's a bacchanal in Tobago about some ambulance that was procured. It is alleged by the TTRA. And Papa here, the ambulance and them some can't go up no hill. Look now, I laughing today, so they're happy. So minority leader called for resignation of health secretary just 18 hours ago in The Guardian. THA minority leader Kelvin Morris is calling on Tobagonians to join him this morning outside the Division of Health as he demands the immediate resignation of Secretary of Health Dr. Faith Bregno. The protest has taken place amidst mounting concern over what Morris described as multi-million-dollar ambulance procurement scandal. He said while Bregno has remained silent on the issue, she has been active on social media sharing a video containing profanity as well as photo of party photos and jokes. I will go play it for you just so it has some cussing in it, but she like to cuss. So like she does cuss everybody. If I see she, I go cuss she because she love cuss. I just cuss. So she go cuss, I go cuss. I don't know. Probably that I knew where to go now, so I didn't want to read. The controversy stems from a 2023 contract with 12 ambulances, originally valued at $5.5 million. That figure has since ballooned over $17 million. So far, only 4 ambulances have arrived on the islands and one reportedly failed while transporting a patient. In a Facebook video on Wednesday night, Morris called the situation a national embarrassment and urged Tobagonians to stand up for accountability in public life. This is classless. This is the ultimate bottom of the barrel. This is low. Even if it's 3 of us, let us stand together and say enough is enough, he said. He also raised concern about a video shared by Bregno on her personal Facebook page featuring a rapper using expletives and repeatedly warning others to stop playing with my name. I will play it for you just now. This Bregno not easy. She playing gangster. Oh God! I know she cussing me. The video was posted along with 3 walking emojis that sparked public backlash. Morris described the post as disrespectful and inappropriate, especially given the seriousness of the ongoing procurement issue and its implication for public health. He said it demonstrated a lack of regard for the people who are asking legitimate questions about how taxpayers' money has been spent. Morris planned to hand-deliver a letter to Chief Secretary Fali Chavez Augustine today, formally calling for Bregno to be fired. He said the letter will outline serious breaches of public trust and professional conduct. The protest follows his call for a criminal investigation into the ambulance contract. Morris claimed the procurement process lacked transparency and the vehicles delivered were of a different make and model than originally approved. He has also written to the Acting Commissioner of Police, the Procurement Regulator, and the Anti-Corruption Bureau. The situation has been dubbed Ambulance Gate by critics who say the escalating costs and delays have put lives at risk. Reports indicate that the Tobago Regional Health Authority, TRH, has spent over $8 million so far, with some ambulances still missing or deemed unfit for use. Bregno has not commented on the protest or the growing demands for her resignation. She has not responded to calls for comments. Attempt to reach Biomedical Technologies Limited owner David Jaikisoon were also not successful. So Papa, Miss Cuthbert. Now let me give you a reminder, Miss Cuthbert. So Miss Cuthbert, them know what tree to climb is. So this was Miss Cuthbert a while back, and she said that was to promote who's give me a minute. Yeah. Hi Val, hi Adara, hi Rena. So this was 97 days ago in The Guardian. Fair defense use of expletives, strong language meant to push for change. Well, my language will push your ass for change. Change a new career. Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Dr. Faith Bregno, has defended the use of expletives during a recent meeting with employees at the Public Health Services Department in Signal Hill. Speaking at a plenary sitting on Thursday, Bregno explained that the strong language was meant to make a point clear and to push for real change in addressing productivity challenges within the department. The meeting, which was part of the discussion on improving work conditions at Signal Hill, focused on the commencement of 3 key planned projects. While some employees criticized the language, Bregno stood by her actions, saying that the use of expletives was intended to highlight the seriousness of the issues at hand. She said she clearly stated that a conversation could be unfiltered, giving workers the green light to be open and direct in raising concern. And with a crossback she has. You is a doctor coming to talk to me because you is the secretary of Ting, and you want to give me to show how strong you feel about the issue and to give me motivation to kind of cussing me. She said that one of the drivers complained of not having boots on because the wrong ones were procured due to an error caused by the existing procurement law. She admitted that that is when she used the expletives. She explained, now we spend the money, which means for us to buy boots for him again, and we have to get the money. And yes, I did say I have to pull it out my ass because we have to find money again, and we went through the process. Although the men accused her of cursing several times, she did not admit to any other instance. But then if you admit to expletives, you see how that is lie? So if you just simply tell somebody we have to pull the money out your ass to buy the boots, and you saying that you use expletives to motivate them, so what is motivating that? You just simply say, wait, want me get the money from you, but come now. I feel people chopping out. Disgusting, appalling, and borderline insulting were some of the words that workers used to describe the interaction. The workers claimed the secretary used the F word, I believe she used it, to the transport foreman and then asked them when issues surrounding overtime was raised if they wanted her to pull it off. She have an issue with pulling thing out. She has. I don't understand. Faith, what you're stuck in one of these stages that Freud speak about her. However, the transport foreman at the center today is one of these days. There are people a little expressive and a little thing, right? So put the train out the room and whatever is a big people thing. However, the transport foreman at the center of the verbal abuse said his colleagues blew the incident out of proportion since he saw no reason for them to stand up for him, as he didn't feel disrespected by the expletives used. Well, you see, you is one of them pia man. Because if a woman can disrespect you so, and a boss, it shows you that you ain't no real man. Because no man should be cussing out no woman and vice versa. And if you see nothing wrong in that, you in a mess. The motion on productivity was brought by Community Development and Sports Assistant Secretary Wayne Clark. During his contribution, he blamed the lack of funding and on and on. That is not all I want. I was just talking about the expletives. So listen to what Homegirl put up on she page. Because Mercy Calvin Morris, minority leader, and others called in she name to ask what is happening. Listen, it have obscene in this. This was Birdman, an American rapper, talking at Breakfast Club with Charlamagne and DJ Ivy and all of them, right? So she put it on she page, meaning to tell people, listen to it all. It has cuss in it, cuss. And this is a doctor, cuss, yeah, cuss. All of here cuss.
I want to start this shit off straight, telling all three of y'all stop playing with my name. Let's go on there, let's go. Stop playing with my fucking name. Let's go, let's do it on camera. Stop playing with my name. Let's go right on there. Nigga, when my name come up, respect it. Let's go. Stop playing with my fucking name. All three of y'all, stop playing with my name. I ain't gonna say it no more. I want to start this shit off straight.
That is what a woman with DR in front she name, who is the secretary at Health in Tobago, and who is the deputy political leader, I think, of the TPP. So they call her she name vandalize what she put up on she page and telling people not to do. You think them right here? But that's the kind of governance and all they want, all the young people that all they like. Zessa, yeah, steam. Oh God, Papa, yo, faith girl, you good, oh, you know who to cuss. Just recently we were seeing that people were saying that people who are on state board, they should resign. But I'm seeing something here written by Arthur Lovejack, Global School of Business. And his school, a lot of people go there to get the degrees. I think even, if I'm not mistaken, Wade Mark and all when we go reach to that. So he said no legal obligations for state enterprise directors to resign. I can read the whole thing. Directors serving on the state board enterprises are under no legal obligation to resign following a change in government, despite a widely held public perception to the contrary, according to a release from the UWI Arthur Lockjack Global School of Business. The management of SOE, state-owned enterprises, board should not be dictated by changes in political leadership. Directors, particularly in companies governed by the Companies Act, are legally bound to serve the interests of the entity and its stakeholders or shareholders, not the party in power. While statutory bodies may involve direct ministerial appointments, even these should aim for professionalism and continuity, the release said. To improve the state enterprise performance, the public trust Trinidad and Tobago must strive to move away from political patronage in board appointments. Instead, it should foster a governance model that prioritizes skill, integrity, and strategic alignment. It's not about who put you there, but whether you are the right person for the job and whether you are delivering results that serve the nation's interests at stake. The Arthur Lockjack School of Business, so it's ALJGSB, stated that the changing of directors is frequently clouded by emotions, misinformation, and political expectations, rather than a clear understanding of the legal and governance framework that regulates state enterprises. It stated that the State Enterprise Manual, which guides the operation of these boards, is also silent on whether directors should resign when a government changes. According to the ALJGSB, state enterprises generally fall into two broad categories: statutory corporations such as Water and Sewerage Authority, and companies incorporated under the Companies Act such as Angostura. For companies governed by the Companies Act, directors are appointed and removed per the company bylaws, typically by an annual general meeting, an AGM, under Section 91 of the Companies Act. Directors have a duty of care to act in the best interest of the company and to report to the shareholders in the annual general meeting. Legally, neither the government nor a government minister has the legal authority under the Act to direct the actions of a director or demand their resignation. If urgent changes can be made via a special general meeting, an extraordinary general meeting, convened by stakeholders, it's stated. In statutory corporations, however, ministers often have the authority to appoint or remove directors under the special enabling legislation. The distinction of often misunderstood, leading to legal challenges when new governments sue directors appointed by the previous administration for decisions taken during their tenure. Directors are bound by fiduciary duties, not political affiliation. Indeed, the Companies Act makes no reference to political party membership as a criterion for board service, it states. Right? So I'm just reading up to that. So there is no obligation in no state enterprise for no director to resign because a new government come in place. Just thought I will read that. So let me continue. So give me a minute, eh? Hi, Constance. So this was in CNC3 News. Oh, yeah. But well, some people looking to war people, some people just mingling. Some people planning mingle, meet and mingles. Hey, all your good, oh yes? Let me get it here. Hey, oh la la, oh la 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 la. All right, what do you think? What do you think? I'll ting. Hey, yo. Ay, what do you think is going right? So this was a day ago. It will be Guardian, of course, Guardian Media. And it says here, hi Donna, China encourages TNT students to apply for scholarship amid US visa concerns. So as uncertainty grows in Trinidad and Tobago over new United States visa policies that involve monitoring students' social media, the Chinese embassy has renewed its call for TNT students to consider academic opportunities in China. Responding to questions from Guardian Media about the new U.S. stipulations, the Chinese embassy said, with regards to the recent changes in the U.S. visa policies affecting international students, the spokesperson of China Ministry of Foreign Affairs has clearly expressed China's position. China holds the view that normal educational exchanges and academic cooperation shall remain free from interference. It added, we urge the U.S. side to genuinely safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of international students, including those from China. The embassy said it always welcomes youth from across the world to study in China and noted that government scholarships have been consistently provided for decades, since back in the day of Dr. Eric Williams. Each November, the Chinese embassy in Trinidad and Tobago releases the application details for the Chinese government scholarship program with eligibility criteria clearly outlined. Students are encouraged to visit the Study in China website for detailed information on scholarship opportunities, application processes, and introduction to Chinese university, the embassy said. It also noted, it also noted that most programs in Chinese universities are taught in English or other languages, with language support available for those needing it. Students who do not meet the language requirement can apply for a pre-sessional Chinese language course lasting 6 to 12 months, the embassy said. The Chinese embassy encouraged TNT students to contact the Confucius Institute at UWI St. Augustine for local language learning support, noting academic cooperation between China and TNT is growing. Shanghai Maritime University and the University of Jinan have both signed MOUs with the University of Trinidad and Tobago in recent years, the embassy revealed. Additionally, a TNT delegation recently attended a culinary workshop hosted by Taishan University, which also launched the China Trinidad and Tobago Steel Band Cultural Exchange Center in 2024. We believe such collaborations will continue to expand and deepen, bringing tangible benefits to more students from Trinidad and Tobago, the embassy said. Meanwhile, academic advisor in Trinidad and Tobago told Guardian Media that many parents are in a panic and have asked alternative study destination. While some are not in support of the new visa vetting measures, they have asked me to search for opportunities that are available, she explained. She said while the U.S. has not officially confirmed this as a reason for the internal review, advisors have begun cautioning students to be mindful of what they share online. As a result, she explained that many advisors were actively steering students towards other countries with more transparent and suitable visa processes. The U.S. consulate in TNT said the current pause in student visa application is temporary. However, it affects new application for F/1, M/1, and J/1 visas. Existing appointments are still valid, according to the Ministry of Foreign and Caribbean Affairs. So young people know what all they're putting up online, because it could come back to bite you all in all behind. Me don't know already. Me I need to study nothing and go no way. I go do it. So let me continue. All here. Let me tell you something. I wonder, this is just a thought I have. When I don't read the story, I go tell all the thought I had. I will tell you. Just what do you think? Give me a minute. Give me a minute. We're mixing and mingling today. We ain't studying no water. Oh God. Hey! All the think it's soft. What the damn thing is? What do you think? Only give me a minute. Okay. Right. Whew. So, you remember, I have always been saying, well, not me alone, but I'm talking about on Levitogi. Levitogi thing. I've always been saying, the pariah tragedy. How come the families are not suing LMCS, who was the employer of the divers who unfortunately died in that tragic event. I've also said that when you look at how they were dressed, that is scuba gears, and the accident that happened was a P-something situation that developed, and it's commercial divers are trained to treat with that, and they didn't have on commercial divers outfits. I remember talking that, and I was saying, well, while everybody only on Paria, okay, that's okay, because Paria gave the contract to LMCS, so they also have some responsibility, because they was to make sure that the person who get the tender to do the work for Paria, that they have everything in place. However, the divers was not Paria's divers, it was LMCS. And how come LMCS didn't give them nothing? How come they didn't have an insurance, LMCS, for the divers who working under this condition? I said all that. And then there was Bacchanal, Dr. Rowley, when Prime Minister said, let us get an investigating team to see what really happened. They was getting international people, and people train up the divers family and thing, and tell them, don't think that they want us to commission a commercial inquiry. No, Dr. Rowley do want them a commercial inquiry, cost real money, and that will, whatever. So coming out of the commercial inquiry that cost real millions and millions and millions of dollars, it was found, OSHA and thing found that Paria and LMCS under OSHA have blame to take. So now the problem is, and continue, that the matter in court, and Paria making up their defense, and LMCS and all the bacchanal. But when Minister Seo was the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago after Dr. Rowley resigned, and he used the Constitution and how to choose a Prime Minister, MP Young now was the Prime Minister then, and he said, listen, we will offer the families of the divers and them $1 million. We're not accepting liabilities like ex gratia payment just to help tide all over until all the court case finished. They didn't take the offer, apparently. So everything went hush. Then Prakash Ramada, who is one of the lawyers for the divers and thing, he was recently with the UNC and thing, up and down and whatever, but then gave he no position. He ain't get a ministry, he ain't get an office, he ain't get parliamentary, he ain't get nothing. All of a sudden, all they listen to this. This was 18 hours ago in Guardian. Families of Paria divers workmen compensation claim against LMCS. Hey! Or they're taking out claim against LMCS finally. And who has seen the picture there? Attorney Prakash Ramada. So I want to ask a question. Is it because, I'm just asking, is it because they gave nothing in the UNC side? Because it had a picture was going around. It was alleged that LMCS owner and his wife was in a UNC meeting. So like all them is UNC based on the picture. So is it because they didn't give him nothing, Prakash nothing in the government? No, because UNC in office now that he must effects. I don't know, because remember it had a man named Kurt Sennett was the interim leader of the COP, and Prakash just come just out of the place, just so, and he take over the Congress and the people when the legislators were marching and say it was done against the this and the that, and Prakash continue. I know Prakash ain't get nothing. All I understand which reflect, I say plenty things, but I understand it for me, right? So all of a sudden now they going after LMCS for workmen compensation. Why they wasn't doing that all the time? So this is it. The families of at least 2 of the 4 divers who perished in a tragedy at Paria Fuel Trading Company Pointe-à-Pierre facility in 2022 have brought claims against former employer under the Workmen Compensation Act. This week, the judiciary issued a notice, the claim made against Land and Marine Contracting Services Limited (LMCS) by relatives of Faisal Kurban. The notice, published in daily newspapers, requested that dependents of Kurban appear before a judicial officer who serves as a commissioner on July the 7th. Dependents were advised to provide documentary evidence of their relationship to Kurban. In the notice, it also stated that application would be determined justly by the judicial officer even if dependents fail to appear at the hearing. Contacted yesterday, Attorney Prakash Ramada, who is representing the Kurban family, confirmed that a similar application was made on behalf of Yusuf Henry's daughter, for which an identical notice is expected to issue. Guardian Media could not confirm a similar application or file on behalf of relative of Rishi Nagasa, a lone survivor, and Christian Buram, or lone survivor Christopher Buram. The legislation provides, well, I think Rishi Nagasa, if I'm not mistaken, God rest his soul, his wife is not the UNC at Anacho. The legislation provides for compensation to be paid to workers or their families if they die or are temporarily or left permanently disabled during an incident while working. In cases where a dead workman leaves behind dependents who are wholly dependent on his earning, the employer is required to pay a lump sum of 36 months earnings. The judicial officer will access the appropriate portion of the maximum amount of the dead man of the dead workman does not have any. The judicial officer will access an appropriate portion of the maximum amount. If the dead workman does not have any dependents, or if his or her dependents were not wholly dependent on him or her, workers who survive but are left totally or partially disabled can potentially receive a larger payout based on their dependence and the extent of disability. On February 25, 2022, divers Budram Kurban, Nagasar, Henry, so it's Budram Kurban Nagasar Henry and Kasim Ali Jr., whose father owned LMCS, was sucked into the 30-inch diameter pipeline that while they were performing maintenance work at Paria Point of Care facility. All were seriously injured, but Budram managed. They weren't seriously injured, they died. So it's not seriously injured, they died. All were seriously injured, but Budram managed to make his way to the entrance of the pipeline and was rescued. LMCS officials were blocked from attempting to rescue their colleagues. 3 of the divers' bodies were recovered on February 20th, while Nagasa was recovered the following day. The cabinet, led by former Prime Minister Keith Rowley, initially appointed a 5-member team to investigate the incident, but eventually appointed a commission inquiry due to public criticism. In its report, the commission, chaired by King Counsel Jerome Lynch, presented several dozen recommendations, including charges under the OSHA Act. Last September, Paria General Manager Mustaf Mohammed, its terminal operation manager Colin Piper, LMCS Director Kazim Ali Sr., and the companies were slapped with a series of charges under the OSHA Act. Last year, LMCS legal team wrote to lawyers for Budram and his deceased colleagues, family suggesting that they should direct the legal action to Paria. LMCS lawyers dismissed any imputation of culpability attached to it by the commission and claimed that Paria should be held solely liable for what happened. How come Carrick was solely? They suggested that even if their clients were partially responsible for the initial incident, as alleged, Paria handling of the response absolved it. LMCS, oh God, just a little more, this thing hot. LMCS did admit that they owe their workers' family and Budram compensation under the Workmen Compensation Act, but claimed that payout could not be made until its claim to its insurer is determined. The company claimed that it pursued litigation over the issue after it made a claim shortly after the incident but did not receive a response. In October, Budram and Nagasa family filed negligence lawsuit against Paria and LMCS. Kurban Henry family were expected to do the same. In early April, former Prime Minister Stuart Young announced that the cabinet had decided to make a one-time ex gratia payment of $1 million to each per Budram and his colleague family without admitting liability. He claimed that the delay in the settlement of the cases was due to insurers of LMCS and Paria disagreeing on what company was liable. I told Cabinet I was no longer prepared to have these companies frustrate the families, Young said. I wish it could have been done earlier, and that the companies and the insurers took the legal route and settled it, but that hasn't been done, he said. That was Prime Minister Young at the time. While speaking to reporters at the swearing-in ceremony for her cabinet last month, Prime Minister Kamala Persad and Attorney General John Jeremy said they would need to investigate whether the payments were made by the former government. While Persad promised that Jeremy and her government would seek to assist the families, she noted that compensation was a complicated legal issue which would take time to address. All you take chain up, all it didn't go for the $1 million. Now, the same lawyer, Prakash, I give an opinion here. I don't know if it's because he ain't get a little play in the UNC thing. He urging them now. That's my opinion I give it, to go for workman compensation, because workman compensation was always there for them. So this is what is workers' compensation. The Workers' Compensation Act in Trinidad and Tobago mandates employers to compensate employees for injuries or death sustained while working. It's a no-fault system, meaning compensation is paid regardless of whether the employer was at fault, as long as the injury occurred during the course of employment. Key aspect of the Act coverage: the Act covers injuries and deaths related to the employment regardless of fault. Employees receive compensation for lost earnings, medical expenses, and other costs related to the injury. Compensation is paid regardless of whether the employer was negligent. Employers are generally required to have insurance to cover compensation claim. The Occupational Health and Safety Act sets a framework for workplace safety and health, with employers having a general duty to ensure the safety and well-being of employees. There are exceptions to the Act liability, such as when the employee is at fault, but even in those cases, compensation may still be payable. The Act aims to provide a mechanism for injured employees to receive compensation for their injuries and to ensure that employers are accountable for the safety of their workplace. Wasn't LMCS the people employer? The Act outlines the procedures for claiming compensation, including submitting claims to the appropriate authorities and determining the value of the compensation. In summary, the Workmen's Compensation Act in Trinidad and Tobago provides a legal framework for compensating employees for workplace injuries regardless of fault, and is part of a broader system of workplace health and safety laws. And them can apply long time, years ago, and get something. So I ask it again, is it because Prakash get left out at UNC and the Bacchanal, he can get an office, he can get a little ministry, he can get parliamentary secretary, nothing at all, while all of a sudden the diverse family who died tragically, they were looking for workers' compensation. They could have get that long time. Let me continue. They're going to take the $1 million too, run and take the $1 million before the election. They didn't do that. So now remember the background of the cartel concept and all what they happen, all them set of US money. I never know entertainers coming to Trinidad used to get paid so much million US, not $30, US, and local entertainers here that's get what, 500 US and 400 US, and come now, hey! A shock. Anyhow, so cartel did not pay because he says something with the promoter says something else, the defense minister says something, and oh, it was a big international bacchanal. Yes, it was international because the boss, world boss, let us call him, or vice cartel, whatever, he international. And that will make entertainment news all over the place, right? So the cartel concert promoter, he say fearful for his life 8 hours ago in Guardian. The promoter of the flop the Adija Vibes Cartel Palmer concert says he is now fearful for his life. Speaking with Guardian Media yesterday, Ordain Anderson, who runs Jacko Entertainment, said he is now in trouble because he had to borrow money to fund the concert and is now finding difficulty in paying it back. Cartel said the fans get robbed, his supporters get robbed. I get robbed too, because right now my life is in danger because of borrowing investors' money. I cannot pay it back. The shareholders have to get paid. Other service suppliers have to get paid. So my next step is to try to find common ground to work it out, Anderson said. Police and Choosers said it was looking into the financial dealings of Jacko Entertainment after it was revealed an initial US $950,000 was paid to cartel to headline last Saturday one Caribbean Music Festival. Palmer was contracted for a total of US $1.35 million, US people, US dollars, boy, to perform at the concert, which also featured other foreign acts including Mali Doom, Russian, Sizzler, Kalonji, Chronic Law, and Molly. However, after cartel, Molly Don, Russian, Sizzler, and Molly pulled out the concert, citing contractual issues. Chronic Law was the only foreign act who performed. Anderson has defended how he sourced the U.S. funds for the foreign act, saying that it was done above board. Well, then he needs to tell business people in Trinidad and Tobago and tell the government how he do it, so that people will know and they know have this problem or no forex problem. I just say. Leading up to the concert, Defense Minister Wayne Sturge had raised concern over some items on cartel's itinerary and debarred some of them, resulting in some changes being made to the artist's intended schedule. Yesterday, Anderson said it was this that triggered cartel reluctance to come to the country. However, he argued that this should have been addressed rather than cartel abandoning his fans. My problem is not him cancelling. My problem is the time he do it. If he knew he was uncomfortable with the government restriction on him, I find weeks before or days before he could have said it and made a notice to the public. Well, I am not comfortable performing in Trinidad at the moment because of the stance the government take, and I would make preparation to postpone the show to move forward, Anderson said. Despite Anderson's claim cartel had taken to social media indicating to his fans he had no issue with the TNT government action. The problem lies in where the promoter took it upon himself and to try to fill Vybz Kartel itinerary with things that had nothing to do with Vybz Kartel performance. And rightfully so, the defense minister pulled the plug on that part of the itinerary. And there's no problem because Vybz Kartel represent for Trinidad, represent for Jamaica, as a matter of fact, represent for the entire Caribbean. So yesterday, Anderson also said up to hours before the concert, he had offered to shuttle Cartel into the country via a private jet. Oh, a private jet, but that was rejected, along with other factors to address cartel concerns of a financial breach in his contract. Anderson said his attorney had written to the attorneys representing the artists who failed to perform, requesting that they detail what were the supposed breaches in their contract before proceeding. Let me tell you something. Fair and all they when all they perform and their private jet come for it too. Take all their money in US, nothing less than $1 million US. Takes the money in US, private jet and the works, man. Hey, what the hell I hear in here? Well, sir, I wish you all the best. All you remember, former Minister of Rural Development, he had a couple of things to say. He's one of the MPs for the PNM, lost the seat up in San Fernando. Can't remember if East, West, North, or South. It's something San Fernando. He did say this, and earlier, like he had an intuition, like he had a genie bottle. So 2 days ago, in the newsday, Alwari now warning URP CPEP mass firing. Almost a month after he warned the nation to expect 6 months of terror, torture, lies, frivolity, and persecution under the UNC government, opposition Senator Faris Alwari is now predicting mass firing of CPEP and URP workers. Speaking at opposition leader Penelope Becker's first press conference at the office of the opposition leader on Charles Street, Port of Spain on June 3rd, Alwari, the former San Fernando West MP, so is West, vowed to strongly oppose any defaming of public officials, many of whom he claimed had adopted a fearful silence since the UNC took office after April 20th general election, and they called Dr. Oli a dictator and a tyrann. Look at what happened to the permanent secretary and in Ministry of National Security. Because they give some check, Mr. Hines said, he went for a check, he collect a check, they give him it, look at back and I'll end up in. So they're frightening people, they're frightening workers. Who is more dictator and who more dictatorship than Kamala Pasabi says, sir. But we tell all that, we did tell all that. Anyway, let me continue. Alwari claimed that under the UNC government, public servants are free to speak. There was a vast amount of defamation and scandal which will be dealt with, he said. While accepting the UNC had won the election and should be allowed a month to settle in, he said PNM action must not be based on hyperbole and speculation, but on facts. Hyperbole. I'd like to caution the government that irresponsible action, witch hunting, mass firing, persecution, scandalizing will not be tolerated and will be met with full force, he said. There are people you normally speak to, warm, friendly people who are afraid to say hello to you in the corridor. All of my parliamentary colleagues can testify to that. People are mortified, afraid to say hello to anybody who was once in higher power. Al-Wari said when he became Attorney General, he had not fired any ministerial staff hired under the previous People's Partnership Administration. Not a single person that I inherited was dismissed. My personal secretary was Anna Ram Logan's personal secretary and stayed so nobody was dismissed. Al-Wari said that in 2015, the former board of Pildeco stayed in office until 2021. They were not dismissed. He said former Finance Minister Com Embert, as then Corporation Soul, had never scandalized the Pildeco board. Without providing any evidence, Al-Wari then claimed that 5,000 European workers and 10,000 CPEP workers could be fired. CPEP is being earmarked and we will come with more details from mass firing, he said. He complained of government ministries or ministers personally reviewing contracts in breach of their power, but again providing no proof. On May 6, according to news report, Al-Wari warned PNM supporters expect to be tortured and persecuted after the party election defeat. I want to say something. Could you tell us who was going around to the different constituency and telling people not to vote for PNM, to vote for Stuart Young as no Prime Minister, and even if PNM lost, only go build it back? Who was going around and telling people that? I'm just asking a question. So all who was going around telling me that is all they have me in this position. So give me a blasted rest with all this shit talk now. I didn't say Al-Wari, you know. I said who were talking them talk, right? Even though we had tremendously strong leaders who I back publicly to the end, it requires every one of us in this Red Army to stand in defense of the nation. He said, let us be wary that we are in a war, and the war has cycles. We get ready because they have malicious intent. We must be aware of what we must stand together to do, Al-Wari said in his report. To me, some had malicious intent in the hierarchy of the PNM, by my opinion. At a press conference on June 3rd, Port-au-Prince South, MP Keith Scotland lamented the posting of people's personal details online and aggressive social media attacks on them. It is quintessential definition of cyberbullying in Trinidad and Tobago, and it is illegal. However, instead of giving evidence to support his claim, Scotland read a legal definition of cyberbullying. I want to tell dear Mr. Scotland MP that ain't going on now. UNC was bullying people, anybody who they feel supporting the PNM. And we started to answer them back to suit MP Scotland. So if all they didn't know, there used to be cussing PNM people all over Facebook since 2020. When they launched a racist attack on African people, and we was out there by ourselves fighting them. And then when we started, people were saying, don't answer them back. When they go low, we must go high. And then we persist, and it reached the way it reached now. When they go low, we just go lower. They cuss me, we just cuss them back. So that's going on all the time. But I'm glad all you understand that was going on all the time. So let me continue. So Al-Wari said that, Senator Al-Wari said that, look at this bacchanal now. So now I tell like he had a magic crystal ball. 18 of us go Guardian. Padarat. That's how they put it, Padarat. Reveals CPEP audit. You know, when you have audit, people are going to get sent home. Over 360 community-based environment protection enhancement program CPEP contract were renewed for a period of 3 years from April the 14th to April the 24th before the general election. Although there was no cabinet approval for this, claims Public Utility Minister Barry Padarat revealed this at yesterday's post-cabinet meeting, media briefing at the Red House. He said an audit is now being done on CPEP, including on the contracts. Padarat spoke following recent warnings by opposition Senator Faris Alwari when Pararat accused crying wolf and taking in front. But how it could be crying wolf and taking in front? If you take in front, it's because you're making sure you let people know how the scene is. Crying wolf mean it ain't real. Oh God, why not? Listen, that man go to school and do English, or what? They can have two contradicting things in one. Oh God, father. Well, I really didn't take Eric Williams' education at all, boy. I don't know what education only take. Apparently not. Paradat noted that Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, Saddam Hussein, had shared information that 73 long-term contract in the National Reforestation Rehabilitation Program would enter into on April the 25th, days before the April 20th general election, and some was signed on election day. Hussein said it meant every contractor would be paid a fortnightly sum of $45,756, which he claimed was used for electioneering, and contracts were assigned to marginal constituency. Reviews now on regarding the reforestation contract awards and hiring practices. Paradat said as the new line minister of CPEP, formerly under the Rural Development and Local Government Ministry, he met CPEP management to ascertain the company's financial standing and if it has been meeting its mandate. Because for quite a while, it seems CPEP was a runaway horse, and like reforestation, we found that it was used as a playground for PNM politicians, party hacks who saw the benefits of the state as opposed to looking after the state interest. Paradat give you a burst for that rhetoric now. The last time they come in 2010, 15, all the 7 months that I see CPEP people, your people, the same blasted thing, and then all the rehire people, give all their own people contract and all that. Those are things that didn't happen to people. I just asking a question. So this big abdo and do about what? I really don't know. So people in CPEP, most likely all the vaccine will get sent home. But we tell all them, April the 29th, who all they want to be answering the phone. Or they take chain up from people who come in all their communities and tell all they don't vote for security and don't vote for the PNM, that nothing if PNM lost, or they go bill back. Well, let me see all the bill back. Remember continues. I just want to say something here. This is somebody gave me this idea. They came up with something, say daily dose of Jenny, and I found it sounds so funny, so I'm using it. So this is I did several daily doses of Jenny today. This is another one. All I remember is this session preparation. All I remember one Selvin Kojo, I dub Selvin Kojo. Selvin Kojo was all over by the UNC. Oh God! Every time he write the article, you could see the man go right behind Kamala's, right behind chairs, right through, suck up. But let me tell you something. He's a professional LDA, professional to the head. That man who a professor before he named, that man sell out himself to get a board appointment on call with a stipend of $5,000. Use a professor, all that kisses you they doing. Sell out Kojo. That way you get a board appointment with a stipend asking a question of $5,000. Selvin Kojo look now why they start to say all the Negroes, all the pushy. All the pushy push up your ass and that all you get. Sell out Kojo, use a big professor. It looked to me like summer earlier. Who does go and study black studies and empowerment, like all they does get dotish. Like the studies, all they study empowerment, it does get all the dotish. You could be never studying African studies and this and that, and be behaving so. Like the studies get you dotish. Because me see you empowering, you ain't even empowering yourself. All that kisses. And you get an appointment and call board, that what you got for? So when Kojo is a blasted joke, yes. You realize that sellout and shoot a big professor. You know as a professor, a big professor like you. Hey, all your good, yes. So let me continue. I want all to listen to this. If all you think these things is joke. Hey. Give me a minute here. I want to play something for you. listen to this.
I think everybody's fed up with the daily dose of school violence. You send your children to school and you want them to be safe. I think everyone is fed up with violence taking place in our schools. Going forward, we will treat every occurrence of assault or battery as an expellable offense in schools and an arrestable offense to put before the courts. I want parents and students to listen very carefully. If your child batters another child, in assaults or batters another child in school, they will be expelled and will face the full brunt of the law. They will be arrested. Let us carefully listen. I'm not saying that they will be suspended, but it will become an expellable offense. My Minister of Defense has advised me, whilst at the same time that this may be happening, that we will have to find some kind of spaces in which these children can be properly counseled and nurtured. But they cannot remain in our schools and be a danger to all the others, the majority of students who are well-behaved. We have to protect those well-behaved students from the few who will engage in assault and battery in our schools. And you know, if someone is 15 years old, if that person robs you, or assaults you, or extorts you, they are arrested. However, if they do the same thing in a school uniform, they are getting a free pass. It doesn't make sense that the school uniform is a license to break the law. This must stop. All acts of school violence must now be referred to the police for criminal prosecutions. Parents need to take responsibility for their children's behavior. And if they can't train them to properly behave in school, then let them stay home. And then we will have to look for spaces, as I said, to properly nurture them and counsel them and to help them to live in a manner.
All right, that's enough. As some people say, we ain't with that. I want to tell all the African people something. All the African people, my Facebook show is down. And when they see me, how come somebody tell me my Facebook page is down? Val, I don't know what you're talking about, darling. So, just now. Let me look for myself. What kind of mad thing? What kind of mad talk Val send for me there? All of my page down? Just now, let me see something. Let me see if I see it myself. But I see it myself? All of my page down? It was. For how long? Well, anyways. Well, look at how long it was down for. Anyhow. Honorable Salvi says the Prime Minister of this country is now saying, no Jenny up, right? Okay. Thank you, darling. Thanks, Anton. See you. Right. See you. Right. Great. We see you. Right. Hey. Right. Honorable Salvi says is now telling all the black people, all the African children who have no behavior. It's not that the former government where your child go get suspended, get counseling, get rehabilitated to go back in school. She said police will lock up their ass now. And it's expulsion. They have no suspension. Suspension can go back to school. This is expulsion. Like I say, they fear all the black and chicken and all the parents and them who don't want to take charge of the children. When Dr. Rowley they tell people, and we was telling all they take some responsibility for the children, all they was cussing Dr. Rowley, all they cussing everybody. Kamla Pasabi says and all was cussing all of them to find out it's the government and the parents need help and all that. Now she telling all them. All they try and go to school and find them and tell them something is police taking them one time. It ain't have no suspension. It's expulsion and they'll find some way to put them. Where they go put them? Is that YTC? Or boys industrial and girls industrial if it's the them thing? So African people, children will just be with police record because it was only show African people children fighting in school. All year. Coming up beside the Sessa, them close down all the training program, all the youth camp. The new minister of sports and youth affairs go and stop all the youth programs. It had nothing. So they go to school and fight and feel that this government that coming here care about black people, children. All they ask go get locked up and put in jail. They go by a detention. Say, you hear she said they go find place to put them. Don't mix you up with words coming up as Sessa, Prime Minister, with all due respect. You said it will be expelled, and any act or anything in the school is called the police and criminal charges. That has no talk about no putting them where they could rehab. No, that is jail. All they're talking about, all they're going to take people 15-year-old and 16-year-old and 17-year-old, and if you're 18, your ass dark, you go up in, you go either Frederick Street or you go up in Maximum also. That's what they plan to do. So all they don't train all their children. Don't train all their children and study the government supposed to give it. When the PNM must gain all they want it. The PNM administration bringing one set of social workers and all kind of things to help with children who having issues in school, suspend, they go evening class, they go this, that, all kind of things they bring to try to rehabilitate all them. They had MyPat, CCC, YTEP, all them programs it had. Where them programs right now? And they're telling all the black and chicken go in the people's school and all they fight again. Kamala Pasabi says they don't care about all the mother. All they say she's a mother. All they don't train all the children. You see who they're going at? The African youth. You don't see them in the school, the Indian school fighting. You don't see them in Hillview College fighting. You don't see them in Lakshmi Girls fighting. You don't see them in presentation fighting. Now they're telling all the straight that police for their ass now. Lock up. That's what they're telling all the lock up. And they're telling you now, parents must see some. Just so they're going to bring a lot of lock up all the parents ass too. All they had nice under Dr. Keith Christopher and all they pay them, all they cost them. You only say mind who you're taking in your bedroom. Cost. Everything he says, cost. Come out and cost Kamala now. But it's ironic that Kamala Pasabi Sessa saying those things. Now on the surface it sounds very well. We don't want to see that type of behavior in school. We don't want to see that fighting in school. We want all our children to go to school and learn in a safe space. We want our teachers to be out there in a safe space teaching children. So yeah, it sounds good. It sounds good on the surface, of course. Who wouldn't agree with that? But listen to this. Saturday the 23rd of June 2018, in the Newsday, Dillon. Pasabi Sessa removed discipline from schools. National Security Minister Edmund Dillon said opposition leader Kamala Pasabi Sessa had previously removed discipline from schools and linked this to the current crime situation. He was contributing to debate on the opposition motion of no confidence against him in the House of Representatives on Friday. He said that all were concerned. He said that all were concerned about murders in this country, and this was a barometer through which crime was measured. To lose one life is too many. That concerns me very much. He said everyone had a part to play, and it started with the discipline of young people. He recalled Pasabi Sessa had made a decision to remove discipline from schools, likely to reference to the removal of corporal punishment in 2001 when she was Education Minister. Dillon said the opposition criticized the government for being in a time warp, but he would have continued to speak about the past as there was always a cause and effect. He said he would continue to talk about the previous administration destruction of the security architecture. We are where we are now based on the action that you, Kamala Pasabi Sessa, did at that time. That is who he was referring to, and the UNC. He spoke about the 5 national security ministers under the previous administration, including Jack Warner, whose claim to fame was a fire truck and breaking down of tents. He said Warner is now writing in his Sunshine publication of all his ideas about security. By the time the AG finished with him, he will be in a place where the sun won't shine. He said Pasabi Sessa had contribution and He said Passabi said in a contribution said serious crimes were down under her administration compared to the current administration. He provided statistics comparing the years 2011, 2012, 2013 to 2016, 17 and 18, which showed lower seizures of firearm and ammunition, lower seizures of narcotics and less arrests. Dillon said in 2011 serious crimes were at 15,877 with a detection rate of 19% compared to 2016 of 11,003 and detection rate of 24%. Serious crime was down in your watch. Come on. So who take out punishment from schools? And today come to say she will lock up all the black children. They closed down the largest youth camp in this country, and rather girls' youth camp. Listen to this one too. We tell all you who all you want to answer the phone April 29, all you turn wrong and tell we kiss all your ass. What basically we tell we don't care about what you say, what Dominic say, what this one say, what Sharon say, what Pastor Guru say, what this one say, what all this all they don't care. Yellow is the code. And we ain't going to vote for no security on. So this was in 2011, Guardian. More on corporal punishment. In February 2001, the then Education Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar pioneered legislation which led to a ban on corporal punishment in schools, according to the United Global Initiative. Corporal punishment of children breaches their fundamental human rights to reject for human dignity and physical integrity. Its legality is almost every state worldwide, in contrast to other forms of interpersonal violence, challenges the universal right to equal protection under the law. During the first decade of the Convention on the Rights of Children, its treaty body, the Committee on the Rights of Child, has consistently stated the persistent legal and social acceptance of corporal punishment incomparable with the Convention. The CRC says that protection to protect children from all forms of physical and mental violence while in the care of their parents and others, Article 19. The committee has recommended that states in all continents should implement legal reforms to prohibit all corporal punishment and public education campaigns to promote positive non-violent forms of discipline, including within the family, schools, and other institutions, and penal system in particular. The committee has commended or condemned legal concept on which to define acceptable violence to children, reasonable chastisement, lawful correction, and so on and so on. So when Kamala Persad-Bissessar, when she was Minister of Education, and she pioneered legislation that take corporal punishment out of school, she put nothing else in place. They had no consultation, they had no talks with nobody, there was nothing put in place. Take out corporal punishment, stymie the teacher in school. The teacher in school can't tell the child nothing, and from then to now, this is what we having. Now, Kamala Persad-Bissessar is telling all you, after all that, I take out corporal punishment because all they have rights, and the children have rights and everything, but now, all they have no blasted rights. As all they say something, police come and take all they ask from the school, criminal charges, you ask, go get put in a place. That's what we're basically telling all you. Welcome to UNC 2025 on steroids. We warn all you, we tell all you, but all they didn't care. Let me continue. So today, Kamala Persad-Bissessar could say what she say, and all they had nothing to say, like dumb dog in Jerusalem. And somebody say for vex and angry PNM laws, of course. And a vex that UNC will, of course. Because I understand the implication of a UNC in office. So I must be vexed. Let me continue. Tell me for the scene me, if the lights still up and whatever. Right. Let me continue. So people, even how you look on social media as black people, everywhere, yeah, let it continue. They will get locked up. If all they know them children, talk to these children. Talk to them, go to school, they're going to get locked up. They're going to get sent in some way. The correct done, they have a police record. Talk to them. This government is not like the PNM government about rehabilitation and mediation, no, and consultation. Them are not that, you know. Talk to all the children. And them parents who going out there and fighting the child for the child, all that. Go ahead, go lam. You hear what the woman say? Okay, police getting in that lock up and all that backside. You see with the Minister of Defense and the Minister of Homeland Security. Okay. So let me just think this here. All they don't want peace and harmony. All they like it rough. Because they're adventurous, all they like it rough and tough. Oh God, oh you, God have mercy. Hey! So listen to Kamala Pasabi says, all the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Hello also alleged the U.S. involvement again throwing out the tired old bogey of blame the Yankees, and he also condemned treatment of Venice abroad who have fled their homeland. Now they have started with TNT. Mr. Cabello should ask himself why Venice are fleeing Venezuela in the first place. Why are they fleeing? Is it because of behavior of their own government? I say further, no amount of rhetoric from the Maduro government will drive any wedge between this UNC-led government and the US government. We stand solidly with the American government on the issues concerning Venezuela. That will not change. We want no part.
Right? So she has aligned us with the US government. Now remember that Kamala Pasabi says the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, there was a press release out that state that Trinidadian and some Colombians and something, they hold them across there, they came from these waters here with weapons of war to destabilize Venezuela, right? They said that. The Minister of Defense come out and say the same day, excuse me, I'm paraphrasing, that they investigate and it ain't nothing, so, right? Okay. But it is stopped there.
Mr. Cabello.
It is stopped there. All of them are find it. If all they feel we making up these things, it is stopped there. So instead of just patting down and say, let us use diplomatic channel to, let me talk with this thing now, what is really going on and all that. No. The Prime Minister of this country, let Venezuela know, I put it my way. If all they come in with waters, Venezuela, we Coast Guard and we people, the okay to use force. Yeah, tell them all that. Use force. Let me see if I can read it here. I kid you not. So let me see if it has something in this here. So Venezuela warns Trinidad against fueling tension, June 6th. The Venezuelan government has accused Prime Minister Kamala Pasabi of issuing an angry and unjustified response as it concerns about a so-called terrorist originating in Trinidad and Tobago. In an official communique issued a short while ago, the Maduro administration said Pasabi's reaction raises serious suspicion of complicity in the alleged incursion and could damage cooperation between both countries. The Prime Minister's virulent and high-handed attitude raises serious suspicion of complicity and undermines the good cooperative relations between our countries in key areas, the statement said. Venezuela said President Nicolas Maduro, has made a legitimate complaint, adding that not only were there several Trinidadian nationals detained, but they had confessed to their plans. The Venezuelan government said its case is backed by compelling evidence from its authorities. It warned against what it described as geopolitical games and urged Trinidad and Tobago authorities to resolve any legitimate concerns through diplomatic channels. Any legitimate concern should be addressed through diplomatic channels, not through threats of unfounded statements that only fuel artificial tension, the Venezuelan government added. So when President Maduro would have said what he said, we would expect a responsible government to say, listen, we have taken note of what the president of Venezuela said, and we are sending our Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diplomacy, whatever you want to call it, to speak to officials in Venezuela or in the embassy there, and we will see how we go forward with that. You would expect that you would have a prime minister would say something like that. We only have 1.5 million people. We have 1.5 million people. So you'd expect a country that have how much millions and millions of people, must be 20-something million, is so much or so much less, whatever it is, more than we. That you would have this, not that you're afraid, you know, but you will be tempered in your tone. But no. Kamala warns Venezuelan leader, TNT off limits, says deadly force will be used. Oh, Jesus. Prime Minister Kamala has issued a direct warning to the Venezuelan government. Trinidad and Tobago territories is off limit. And she has also made it clear TNT is standing with the United States on its policies against Nicolas Maduro regime. Oh, Jesus. Today I want to make it very clear to Venezuela government and officials that they can do whatever they want on Venezuela territory, but they cannot come here. TNT territory is off limit to them, she declared during a post-cabinet media briefing in the Red House Policy. She added, no amount of rhetoric from Maduro government will drive any wedge between this UNC-led government and the US government. We stand solidly with the American government on this issue concerning Venezuela. That will not change. She said that her remarks were followed by Venezuelan Justice Minister Diosdado Cabello, who alleged in his program on Con El Mazdo Dandio that a Trinidad national, whom he named as Gilles Mandel Jerome, has been captured while traveling to Venezuela with a group labeled terrorists in an attempt to destabilize that government. So Kamala Harris decide she going to let Venezuela know we standing with the US. I want to ask Kamala Harris if she understands something. Did she forget that Donald Trump said on here shithole? I want to understand, and she understands how he thinks about minority. When he says, and they say, make America great again, it has nothing to do with Indian people, minority peoples, Mexican peoples, dark peoples, African peoples. It has to do with white people. So when this lady continues to say, we stand with America, we have the policy, I want to know if she feel America. So after saying that, there was no word from our esteemed opposition leader, Mrs. Becca Johnson. You would expect you would hear something like that. I don't know if it's because she's busy planning her Mixx and Mingle for tomorrow, but you'd expect you would have heard something from that, because this is serious, but this is not joking. This is a serious thing, you know. But some people feel it's a joke, and okay, I'm glad for you. So Kamala Harris is saying the same Coast Guard, or remember them Coast Guard and them, who she accused of being murderers when they were patrolling with waters and a vessel was coming in with water and they tell them stop, and they refuse to stop and they come into ram. We Coast Guard ship and we Coast Guard Lego bullets in the backside, because that is their work to do to defend the borders. And unfortunately a little baby died. You remember she called them Coast Guard and them murderers. Now today Kamala Harris is saying, because the Coast Guard does man with waters, that if Venezuela and anything coming with water, full force. But when they did the job, to defend this country, this was in 2022, Dr. Rowley, at the time, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, said that the shooting death of Venezuelan baby by the Coast Guard on Saturday was an accident, and added that the Coast Guard members were carrying out responsible and professional orders under international protocols and law. Baby Elvis Santoya and his mother, Dari Elvis Ilagenes Sabaria, were illegally entering Trinidad and Tobago on Saturday night from to Coptipa when they were ordered to stop by Coast Guard. The Coast Guard said the vessel did not stop and attempted to ram their vessel when they opened fire. Dr. Rowley made his comment on a Facebook post as he sought to criticize opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who on Monday night berated the Coast Guard for the shooting of the baby. Persad-Bissessar publicly accused the Coast Guard officers of murder. According to her, the craft should have been allowed to evade the border patrol. They should have known that there was an endangered baby on board. We regret the terrible loss of the innocent infant, but what should we think of the opportunistic, shameless, attention-seeking lady who is so bereft of any scintilla of patriotism? Dr. Rowley accused the opposition leader of having limboed to a new expected distinguishing role. And today, the same Kamala Persad-Bissessar who called the Coast Guard, who was defending our border, when they tell a vessel coming to we water to stop, turn back, and the vessel refused, and the vessel start coming to them to ram them, and the Lego fire as is the protocol to do, and a baby was killed. Unfortunately, she called them murderers. And fine, they should allow the whatever vessel to turn back. It didn't have no stand your ground then. It didn't have no stand your ground then. She said she should allow them to evade. Because I come and tell that, you know, we lost for home invasion. You have a legal right to evade. If you can get away safely and de-escalate. They don't want that again. They say we want to de-escalate nothing. We don't want to find no space to run. Nothing safe. We stand on the ground. But back in 2022, when the Coast Guard stood the ground to defend Trinidad and Tobago against an oncoming vessel that they tell stop, and the vessel keep coming to ram them, Kamala Persad-Bissessar called the Coast Guard murderers. All they play with them people, me making up these things, you know. But today, she telling them, any vessel, she even tell the fishermen and them, if you go in Venezuela water, you're on your own. It's no fishermen here. There was a time when the national, what do you call them? Guardo Nationals, the soldier police, whatever you call them in Venezuela, they board one of we rig out in the sea. Kamala and them say nothing, they ain't do nothing. They board the rig, they walk all the rig, they ting, and had we nationals there for a while, and they did it, and when they done, they jump back in the boat and them and they go. Back then, all they didn't know nothing was stand your ground. Till then we Coast Guard run out and meet them head on. All they didn't know nothing about that, but today, you're telling the world that we stand with America on its views on Venezuela. We live in 6 miles away from Venezuela. If you go see Cedros, you could stand up and see people walking across. I went and when I see it, I was amazed. You see people walking across there, so. You see people coming with a boat with cow and goat, and when I stand on the water, I'm like, what the hell? They're right there. You could swim across and all if you're like a good swimmer. We 6 miles away. We how much? You're taking? Must see how much hours to reach across Venezuela? They must see half hour. Well, I don't know, how much hours, whatever. To go to America, you're taking how much hours and hours and hours. You can't swim to go there. We closer to Venezuela. That we closer to America. We have always had friendly relations with Venezuela, despite whatever issues, because we live right there, right there, right there. And you want to make enemies of Venezuela because you say we are aligned to America. You feel Donald Trump and them love we? I can't understand this. I can't understand this. And this has nothing to do with free, then this one and free. It has to do with diplomacy. Yeah? It has to do 5 hours. But to reach across Venezuela, you reach it in tutus. You could stand up on the coast and see just and wave to your family. Hey! You call them on the phone and say, watch me. When you look across, so I see one with the Trinidad flag waving and they could see you. Right there, right there. But Kamala Persaud-Bissessar want to create tension in this country because she aligned Trinidad and Tobago with the policies of Donald Trump. As I was saying before, the opposition leader ain't saying nothing. We ain't hearing shit. Everybody else talking. I'm going a little extra tonight because this has to be said. Because when I say what I say, people just get harassed. Me ain't saying it because I don't like this one and I don't like that one. You know. It's about a competent opposition to deal with a runaway train that called this UNC. And if they don't see nothing wrong in what they're doing and something wrong in saying that the opposition leader weak, that is all their business. Dr. Raleigh had this response. He shoot first, find out later. This response is madness. Our gas fields are 60 miles out at sea. Does the Prime Minister really believe that we can adequately defend those operations with force against a highly militarized neighbor like Venezuela? To throw down a deadly force gauntlet to Venezuela can only be viewed as powerful stripping and an unnecessary burning of our bridges with a friendly neighbor in a thinly veiled attempt to curry favor abroad. What happened to standard diplomacy, fact-finding, and common sense in handling sensitive matters in this nature? The fact is that we have no information about insurgents or any bad actors using our territory against another is no basis to be so belligerently dismissive of any allegation made by any of our neighbors. Ignorance is never a solid basis on which to approach any issue. History has already shown that there was a coup in Trinidad and Tobago without our own security services being aware of it, planning and execution until it was too late. We also saw in full view a failed drone attack on the life of President Maduro in a clear attempt at assassination of a regional leader. There are background occurrences that must never be ignored. These are background occurrences that must never be ignored. So now, not only is the vital dragon deal declared dead by an intemperate prime minister, but we also now declare Venezuela a hostile nation against whom we have flippantly authorized the use of deadly force in a situation that we have no information and clearly do not understand. If the Prime Minister and erstwhile advisors believe that this makes us look strong, we would have not only appeared stronger, but we would have been in a much better position if we had chosen to drink our bush tea at a cooler temperature in preservation of our own interests. Dr. Keith Rowley. And this is something that came out also from Minister MP Stuart Young. And it says here, the government must be responsible. Venezuela is 7 miles off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago and is our closest geographical neighbor. It is the height of irresponsibility and arguably borderline insanity for our government, led by none other than the Prime Minister, Mrs. Kamala Persaud-Bissessar, to declare a use of deadly force policy to an unidentified vessel entering Trinidad and Tobago waters from Venezuela. As has happened on many occasions in the past, our radar system may fail to pick up marine vessels entering and leaving our waters. This is nothing new. The ocean expanse is vast and there are reports of numerous vessels entering and leaving Trinidad and Tobago waters. In fact, it is the same UNC that used to scream in opposition about our porous borders. So to now pretend that you can conclusively determine whether a vessel left Trinidad and Tobago destined for Venezuela with persons on board is simply not true. I call upon the government to engage in proper diplomatic communications with Venezuela and to appreciate that as the government, you have to act responsibly and judiciously. Carry on with false bravado associated with soapbox politics is not only unbecoming, but frankly dangerous in the circumstances. Furthermore, the UNC had better quickly appreciate that our future financial stability and energy security is directly tied to Venezuela. For example, the largest gas project currently being undertaken is Manatee, which is actually a cross-border field with Venezuela, Lauren Manatee. Yesterday I said it was in 2019, I successfully negotiated with Venezuela for Trinidad and Tobago to develop Manatee. What happens if Venezuela decides now to cancel this arrangement? It would lead to financial disaster for Trinidad and Tobago. This government needs to wake up and stop jeopardizing our future and our country's reputation. I pray for Trinidad and Tobago. Yours in continued service, Stuart R. Young, SC, MP. And what he's speaking about here, the Manatee Lauren Field is a part in Venezuela waters, most like by we, but in Venezuela waters, so anything that happen, things have to pass by Venezuela water and all that. So we got permission, a contract was made, so because it's mostly in we waters, but we had to pass there. So if Venezuela pull it back, now how we getting that gas from Manatee, which in we waters, but a little in Venezuela waters too. So I'm seeing here, also, this thing making international news all over the place now. This is not just Trinidad and Tobago, you know. Oh God, the woman in 2010 to 15 caused so much bacchanal that this government, when they come in when PNM came in 2015, 16 had to run up to Jamaica because it was pulling all riggers off the shelf. All riggers was pulling off the shelf. All riggers. Because as she talked, that same woman who talking there now, that was not an ATM machine. So remember that? Let me just read this here again. Now, this is coming out of where the thing is going. And to top it off, Wade Mark is acting president of this country. A man who went in parliament, speaker of the house, and lied on the judiciary. He is now acting president of this country, Wade Mark. All you could tell me, look now, boy, we are a disgrace to the Caribbeans. We is a disgrace to the Caribbean, boy. CARICOM leaders must be sitting down and wondering what the hell going on here, boy. What is really going on here? Let me read, I ain't find anything. Let me read this thing here quick. Oh gosh. It's a nice piece, you know. Just I'm going slow. I'm going slow. Bam, bam, bam. Right, let me see if this is it here. So this coming out of Oil Now. It's oilnow.gy. It says this June the 6th, 2025. Trinidad PM deadly force warning to Venezuela sparks concern from Young about gas project. So Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamala Persad has warned that deadly force will be used against unidentified vessels entering the country's waters from Venezuela, prompting criticism from former Prime Minister Stuart Young. Young warned that the move could jeopardize key energy ties with the neighboring country, including the Manatee gas project. Speaking at a press conference on Thursday, Persad cited national security concerns following reports from Venezuela that a Trinidadian citizen had been arrested amongst armed Colombians earlier this week. Venezuela Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello also alleged that weapons are being smuggled into the country from Trinidad and Tobago and that foreign actors are training to destabilize Venezuela. TNT territories is off limit to them, the Prime Minister said. We have to take all threats against any incursion into our territory seriously. I will seek advice on protection for our Coast Guard to use deadly force on any unidentified vessel in TNT waters from Venezuela smuggling military able bodies, men and women. The Prime Minister, talking on this, the Prime Minister has also signaled that the government will review its approach to Venezuela's migrants in Trinidad and Tobago, particularly those of military age, calling the situation a serious threat in light of past Venezuelan actions in the region. In response on Thursday morning, Young condemned the Prime Minister's position, describing it as borderline insanity and urging a more measured approach. It is the height of irresponsibility to declare to use deadly force policy on any unidentified vessel entering Trinidad and Tobago waters from Venezuela, Young said in a statement Friday. Carry on with false bravado associated with soapbox politics is not only unbecoming but frankly dangerous in the circumstances. Young also expressed concerns that escalating tensions with Venezuela could threaten Trinidad and Tobago energy security. He pointed to the Manatee gas field, which is part of the cross-border Lauren Manatee reservoir shared with Venezuela. Trinidad and Tobago has been cleared to independently develop the Manatee portion of the field, a move that could bring substantial benefits for a country whose economic prosperity is threatened by declining gas production from maturing fields. Our future financial stability and energy security is directly tied to Venezuela, Young said. What happens if Venezuela decides to now cancel this arrangement? It would lead to financial disaster for Trinidad and Tobago. Predecessor stressed that a stance is a necessary response to what may be a veiled threat from Venezuela. They make similar propaganda comments about Guyana and Colombia whenever they have interior political problems or elections, and when they engage in border skirmishes with violence. We will take these threats very seriously, she said. I didn't see any threat being given by nobody, so I don't know what Kamala Prasad is talking about. So there it is with Kamala Prasad. Penny too nice to talk about that. Yeah, she planning Mingle and Mixx and Mingle. She don't have time with that. I want to just read a little thing here because we have to be realistic at the end of the day. And all who want to say, yes, she talking tough, Kamala talking tough, get them. That is only ignorant ass talking. That is not only sensible ass talking at all. That is only ignorant ass talking. So, the Bolivarian Military Aviation of Venezuela is a professional armed body designed to defend Venezuela's sovereignty and airspace. It is a service component of the National Bolivarian Armed Forces of Venezuela. Right. Let me see. Something with modernization. Oh God, they're showing all the plane and there. The AVM purchase, they show the plane and thing. Let me see the inventory, Papa. So the inventory, this is what I'm reading from Wikipedia. People, I am not with all these things there. So aircraft have a F-16 Fighting Falcon, and they have 3 in service. That's what the thing say. They have some Sukhoi Su-30. They get that from Russia. They say they have 21 in service. They have Fairchild Meteoronia, some damn thing, some electronic warfare. They get it from the United States. They have 1 in service. They have a Boeing 707. They get it from the United States. That is a tanker. They have 1 in service. They have Cessna 208 utility. They have 3 in service. They have Domna 228 from Germany. They have 3 in service. They have Bretschner Craft and King Air, some kind of bacchanal. So they have 5 in service. Fairchild Metrolina, they get from the US. They have 1 in service. Lockheed, they had 3 in service. The Shangnix or some damn thing. So they had 8 in service. They have some short something 360 utility. 2 in service. The helicopters now, they have Enstrom or something, so 2 in service. Enstrom 480, 12 in service. Eurochopter, Copter, some shit, 10 in service. MI something from Russia, 6 in service. Then that, look, right. And let me see how much is the military strength. How much people is. Oh, let me see how much people is. I understand the military strength. Let me see ranks. Oh, Jesus. There's plenty people. I had it just somewhere and I can't find it now. So let me look at Trinidad and Tobago. But the military might is more than we know. It's not thousands. Them is Trinidad and Tobago. The Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force is a military organization responsible for the defense of the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. It consists of the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment, the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard, the Trinidad and Tobago Air Guard, and Defense Force Reserve. People are just reading. I'm casting no aspersion on nothing. I just reading, right? Let me see. Regiment Army. This is Trinidad and Tobago Regiment Army is the main ground force element of Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. It has approximately 3,000 men and women organized in 4 battalions and the regiment headquarters. The regiment has 2 primary roles: maintaining the internal security of Trinidad and Tobago and support the civil law enforcement, right? What is the next thing they have? They have special forces. Trinidad and Tobago has a unique and highly trained group of special forces that is tasked to fulfill counter-narcotics and counter-terrorism operations. Soldiers are sent to United States, United Kingdom for their training. The motto is to find a way, and there's also a secret elite branch of TTCG. Their name is Special Naval Unit. So I'm happy with all these things, right? Okay. Then had the Air Wing of Trinidad and Tobago, and had the Coast Guard. Oh, okay, whatever, right? I'm just saying all this to say, I am not talking down our military people here. No, I will never do that. I'm a patriot at Trinidad and Tobago. I'm standing with the 5,000 or 10,000 strong and supporting. When I say supporting, not physically, people, because I'm talking about in terms of giving moral strength and things. Right. But we have to understand something. Sometimes you just have to know your place and thing, and you have to use diplomacy, right? You don't put we and our security and all that in no unnecessary danger with all the foolish talk. If it comes to a situation they have to defend, they will do what they have to defend. But not you win and create bacchanal that is unnecessary and then put them in that. I find that very unfair. Again, big up to our military in this country, big up to the Coast Guard, to the Air Guards, to the Army, to the police, all our security services. Big up to all they do human service. But I think it's unfair that all they get tossed in a lily just so. That is totally unnecessary. When all they have so much other work to do to really keep our country safe. Right? Kamala Prasad says it's very responsible. And I don't know where she's going with that conversation. I don't know. There's dependency on America. I don't know if she wants us to go back to the days of the Yankee day and debate. I don't know if that is what this woman is looking at. But we are Republican, we are independent country, we are a sovereign country, and I just forget it. These are the days that we had under Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. And I'm surprised again that the opposition leader is saying nothing. I will tell you why. Let me play this for you. Very, very surprised and very disturbed that she's not saying anything. Let me play this for you.
Lee and Karen met with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Oli and CARICOM leaders today met with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in New York to discuss the developing situation in Venezuela. The CARICOM delegation is satisfied that if the conditions for such can be met, the UN will assist in establishing the roadmap towards peace and security for Venezuela and the region. Prime Minister Dr. Rowley expressed hope that in the not too distant distant future, there will be significant improvement and a diminishing of tensions in Trinidad and Tobago's neighboring territory. CARICOM Chairman and St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, Prime Minister of Barbados Mia Mottley, CARICOM's Secretary General Owen LaRocque, and Ambassador for Trinidad and Tobago to the United Nations Penelope Beckles were part of the delegation. This meeting with the UN Secretary General followed a CARICOM Heads of Government Emergency meeting on Thursday, where it was decided that the regional body should engage the global organization.
Right, well, they hear that? They hear the name called? Our foreign diplomat, Penelope Beckles, was there with Dr. Rowley as Prime Minister with CARICOM to speak about issues concerning peace in Venezuela and all that. So she's very much aware of these things. Where is she to say something? Where is she to say something from she Mixx and Mingle? And when people say she weak, all they just want to get vexed with people. She voice should be the biggest out there now, because when I say biggest, not loud, because everybody just feel when they say big and think they mean loud. She got to be very quiet there, but talking about it, she was a part of a delegation with Dr. K. Christopher Rowley that to treat with the Venezuela's issue that was back in the day. She ain't saying nothing. See, Amy Brown, the former Foreign Affairs Minister, talking on behalf of the PNM, and okay. But where's the voice of, you're not the opposition leader, Dr. Amy Brown, you're not. Where's the opposition leader? Look at what it is used to happen in CARICOM, that this woman, this Kamala Pasabi says to the Prime Minister, seem not to want this country trying to be able to end up in some kind of drama. Listen to this.
We, his colleagues who remain on the field, wish him well. And for me personally, coming in as Prime Minister in 2016 and meeting Prime Minister Rowley at a time when relations between Jamaica and Trinidad were possibly at an all-time low, where there were threats.
Hi, what's your name? My name's Beth. Beth, where are you from? I'm from...
What stupid thing is that, boy? Sorry about that. Let me see. Wait again and see.
We, his colleagues who remain on the field, wish him well. And for me personally, coming in as Prime Minister in 2016 and meeting Prime Minister Rowley at a time when relations between Jamaica and Trinidad were possibly at an all-time low, where there were threats of boycott and threats of blocking citizens' movements. And then we met and struck up a friendship, you recall. And I said, listen, Prime Minister, come to Jamaica, come and visit me, man. Let us talk this thing over. And Prime Minister Rowley graciously accepted the visit to Jamaica. You were my first international guest. And we had a very good talk about the issues. We developed a very strong relationship. And we were able to resolve the issues. And I think today, trade is better. Movement of citizens between the two countries are better. I think the region is better. And I want to publicly say how pleased I am and how privileged I feel to have served with you as a colleague in this fraternity. And that you are truly the epitome of a Caribbean man. Definitely you will be missed on the scene, but I'm sure your voice will be heard. Walk with my friends.
Thank you. You know, we have a curry situation here. But I want to really say that Prime Minister Rowley and myself, we have developed a very strong friendship. He is my brother. And his contribution to Guyana is enormous from many perspectives. Many of you may not recall, but Prime Minister Rowley was the chair of CARICOM during a very difficult period after the 2020 elections in Guyana. A time when there was great tension, democracy was under threat, rule of law, and respect for the results from the elections. Prime Minister Rowley arrived from international engagement at 2 a.m. in the morning, called by Prime Minister Motley at the Bureau, members of the Bureau at that time, and made his way to Guyana. And the rest is history. Democracy, rule of law, respect for the elections, and having the region leading in the resolution was a historic moment for this region. And I want to applaud his leadership as chair and the entire team at that time that allowed CARICOM to resolve a matter within CARICOM. The second historic moment in the relationship of Guyana and Trinidad, but in the region itself, was when we achieved the Argyle Agreement in St. Vincent. You would recall that many prime ministers, and I did then, and I will continue to do so, to thank the prime ministers who left their homes and journeyed to St. Vincent to help us in a very delicate time to resolve an issue where the temperature was high. And I want to thank you again, Prime Minister Rowley, for your personal commitment and your involvement in that matter. Your strong views, you know, those who know him, the stone face, don't be carried away with the stone face and the hard views. Beneath that, we have had, since my time here, very strong conversation. But at the end of it, they were all geared towards the best interests of the region and to give us the best possible result. I want to thank you for your friendship, for your guidance, and for the way in which we have been able to work together, Guyana and Trinidad, but in the region, to strengthen our relationship and our bonds. I wouldn't say I'll miss you, because I'm sure, I've said it publicly already, that the experience our leaders built up over the years must continue to be the reservoir of knowledge and also the asset that we must rely on in this region. Thank you very much for your service, sir.
No, that was when Dr. Rowley, before he would have resigned as Prime Minister, he went to his last CARICOM meeting, and that was just two of the Caribbean leaders who are part of CARICOM spoke. When the Jamaica Prime Minister spoke, and he spoke about Dr. Rowley, he told him, come to Jamaica. Excuse me, because we have some challenges with traders. When Kamala Pasabi-Sessa, when she was in office, created the whole bacchanal with reason at the ATM machine, and was said, no, that Jamaica pull off all the goods because of the shelf, that because they buy most of our local manufacturing goods. And when Dr. Rowley and the PNM came in 2015, by 2016, he had to fly to Jamaica and deal with that matter in a diplomatic way, and trade continued unhindered since then. And then we had the president of Guyana, President Ifram Ali, speaking about Dr. Rowley and his diplomatic conversation in treating with issues in Guyana after the elections. That was tension, high racial thing and all that. Dr. Rowley was there as part of CARICOM to diplomatically treat with the issue. And then the issue with Venezuela and Guyana that had come to a point, and then all of the Caribbean leaders had gone to St. Vincent to have this emergency meeting, and coming out of that, peace prevailed. And that is what we are accustomed with in the Caribbean. treating with our matter in a diplomatic way, and President Irfan Ali was happy to say it was historic, that basically saying we didn't need the intervention of no outside country to deal with our matter in the Caribbean and Caribbean. We dealt with it ourselves. That's what we do. Or you think anybody who's sitting at that table there, when the Caribbean will have them good things to say, well, come up as a sister? You think they will sit down and say that she diplomatically she do this? No. You think they have any respect for right now? I'm sure Caribbean leaders are sitting back and wondering what horror this woman is talking about, what foolishness this woman talking about. I'm sure they're wondering what the hell is going on in Trinidad. What is this woman doing, aggravating a scene that is unnecessary, and then talking about we line with the policies of America. Why are you involving we? If you are lying and you start struck by President Donald Trump, that is your personal view. That's okay. Why are you pulling all that we in that conversation? Just you had a consensus. You went out and talked to all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and they tell you that we agree or we don't agree. Did you do that? But again, we tell all you, who all you want to answer me for on April 28th, I will never stop saying that. And all you tell me point blank in my face, because we see by the results. PNM get 13 out of the 41 seats. Some of them go out and vote because people tell all they don't vote for Stuart Young. Who would have been better in office today? The thing will come up as I said, so I level-headed Stuart Young. Who would have been better? All them who now looking for position in the PNM. But all the black party, what all they could do? What they could do? That some of them prefer that the PNM in this position all they go build back. Build back with what? With all this unity, this bacchanal that going on in the PNM? Build back with what? All they want to unify and all they standing on lies and malicious intent. That is my opinion I give in. Cleanse all yourself from that and sit down together as a team. As the People's National Movement, sit down together as a team. Sit down together as a team. And work this shit out in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago, the 13 all who want executive position. Sit down and work as a team and stop studying all their personal agendas. Look at it in 2 months yet and look at the kind of things happening with the UNC and what they're doing in our country. And all in some shit ride for power. Anybody recognize all the outside on the international scale by all the self-dresser? Who will want to say my more big? Yes, because I'm talking for people like me who believe that the PNM and know that the PNM is the best party to run this country. To keep you out of the morass and the confusion and the bacchanal. We see this UNC bringing us into again. They did it already every time they come into office. And all they're sitting down there, I feel all they're talking about black party, my ass. The one who want to go up for lady vice chair, she don't talk to nobody. She just watch down, she knows that everybody. All this dress and dress and dress, she's cold as ice. All they tell me a lie now. All they want to talk the truth. All they want this thing to go good. But all they talk the blasted truth. She's very unfriendly, very snobbish. But you want to be Lady Vice Chair, Women's League, to teach you women what? Check yourself. All who want to be chairman and this and that, all they check all the blasted self if all they're doing it in the interest. At Trinidad and Tobago, all the personal interest to lead. Madam Opposition Leader, we want to see you succeed, but you're not able. Where you today to talk on what the things going, don't say not Amy Brown. Amy Brown is not the political leader, he's not the opposition leader. With all due respect, we want to hear you. What is your views? Imagine if the two former prime ministers had to talk and you were talking at all. and all they want to lead, come be real. And all they want to cuss me and make like to cuss me, all they go ahead because all they know is the truth are talking. Me are talking because I don't like nobody. I want to see the PNM do well, and plenty of we want to see the PNM do well. But how they go in here, how they go do well? This black party shit all they putting in people friggin' head. Black party may answer saying it again today's Friday. This is Trinidad and Tobago, a cosmopolitan country. No intellect black. Look, we have an intellectual black professor, and he gets so much ass. He gets right now a board appointment for a stipend, and he's a professor. That way black people have put themselves. Some of all you. So come up, all about to listen to me now because I'm a nobody. As far as all they're concerned, I'm a nobody. To all you. But I know who I am. To all as a nobody, but there are plenty of people who like me, all us consider nobody. And when the shit hit the fan, all us want them same people to come and stand with all in defense. And I'm saying it again, who was closing the fridge. If all in a power trip, that will do nothing for this country. All who want to be, because the opposition leader, she's a political leader, and they don't hear nothing from she at all. They don't hear nothing. We don't want to hear other people talk. We want to hear you talk, madam. So we could stand with you convincingly that you could do the work. Don't hide behind Faris Alwari. Don't hide behind Amy Brown. Don't hide behind Foster Cummins. Don't hide behind this one and that one and that one. Come out and talk. Let me hear your voice. You can talk very quietly and very demure, but we want to hear you talk. And sometimes you don't have to look down in paper all the time. Memorize the blast setting and read. Connect with me. Connect your eye with me. So we can see you, we can watch you. Not your head on that paper right through talking. You look very insecure. You look shaky. Go until I say so. That's quite okay. I don't dislike her. I don't know why all you feel that somebody criticize somebody constructively. They don't like them. But all they don't listen, all they don't hear, so why all the people to do not to talk on the forum that they have, not the platform that I have to talk on, because you can't talk to all you. Always watch people like if there's nothing. That's why I tell you that one who going up for lady vice chair, waste of time. Speaks to no one, very hoity-toity, and for what? That tell me there's some insecurity in that young lady, a beautiful young lady like that. You don't have to get on so. So it tells me that you only have the outward look of confidence, but inside you're insecure. So how you could empower women in the Women's League now? How could you empower women in the Women's League? How could our political leader empower people, empower women in leadership with that kind of quiety thing and they saying nothing? And all the penny panties and them want to jump out to tell me thing, or they watch all the blast themselves, wear jockey shorts, don't study to jump in the woman thing. Or they should be encouraging she to boost up herself some more. Me talking about physical strength. I talking about how she presents. Up to now, in a serious matter like this, you ain't hear nothing. You ain't hear nothing. You're collaborating and collaborate. That's all they want to say, collaborate, and we're not unnecessary. These things are not unnecessary. Madam opposition leader and political leader. This conversation that comes up as says, I want to drag we country in a whole conflict. It's not unnecessary to jump out and say something. Stand your ground laws is not unnecessary to jump out and say something, because there are plenty of people don't even understand what stand your ground laws is really. You ain't come out here and say nothing. Eh? But when I talk, people won't have a problem to say that I this and I this. This with what? I disrespect anyone. How I disrespect Mrs. Penelope Beckers Robinson? How I disrespect she ever cuss she? Ever insult she? All I simply saying, based on the evidence we have there, she looks weak. That mean I insulting she? All you say Dr. Rowley is a Rottweiler. All you say he's a dictator. All you say he this. He too black. He too ugly. He too this. He's a rapist. He's pitiful. All you wasn't disrespecting Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. Eh? All you wasn't disrespecting the man when all they talking them things. As for the stand your ground laws. Stand your ground laws, a person may have a duty to retreat. Just now. In states with stand your ground laws, a person may not have a duty to retreat before using deadly force in self-defense. However, they still need to demonstrate that the use of force was justified. This typically involves showing a reasonable belief that they were in imminent danger of serious harm or death. While a stand your ground law might prevent a criminal trial, if the claim of self-defense is accepted, this doesn't guarantee immunity from civil lawsuits. Stand your ground laws essentially remove the requirement to retreat before using deadly force if a person believes they're in danger. Even with a stand your ground law, the individual must still have a reasonable belief that they were in immediate danger. The force used in self-defense must be proportional to the threat. Pre-hearing trials in some cases, some states allow a special pre-trial hearing where the individual can present evidence to prove they acted in lawful self-defense. If they can demonstrate this, they can win immunity and avoid a criminal trial. Even if the individual is acquitted of criminal charges, they can still face a civil lawsuit from the victims of their family. In Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, the laws surrounding self-defense are different than those in the United States, so a stand-your-ground situation would not apply. The use of force in self-defense is still governed by the principles of self-defense, but there is a duty to retreat if reasonably possible. Individuals who use force in self-defense may still face criminal charges or a civil lawsuit depending on the circumstances of the level of force used. So in Trinidad, our self-defense laws, it is governed by the principle of self-defense. But if there is a reasonable and a possible, there is a duty to retreat if reasonable. If reasonable. So if you could get away from the situation, if it could de-escalate, then you do it. It has to be reasonable. If you have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, you can de-escalate, well, it is expected self-defense will come into play. That is the laws we have now in Trinidad and Tobago. With the stand your ground laws, there is no reason to retreat. Whether or not you could get out of it, you could go in a safe place, you could de-escalate, you don't have to do none of them things. You could just stand up and shoot down somebody just so, and then claim stand your ground. However, what they're not telling all you might get away from criminal charge, but you could still get civil proceedings against you from the family victim. So you could still end up in court and still end up pay big money for shooting somebody and stand your ground. They're not telling you that, and that is what we want the opposition leader, the political leader, to come out and talk to citizens about that. Not just party groups. Talk to all citizens. Let them understand we have a self-defense law already in Trinidad. The only difference is that you have a legal right, if reasonable, to retreat. If reasonable, to retreat. Or de-escalate. If it is not reasonable for you to get out of the situation, then your self-defense law comes into play. You could shoot. But then stand your ground. You don't have to do nothing more than just shoot down somebody. But again, there's another part in it that says proportionality, meaning if somebody come with a spoon, you can't shoot them 20 times and say stand your ground. But who telling we these things? Everybody just up on the emotion because they went through crime, they fell up a crime. I understand that, I have no problems with that. My thing is understand what all you're asking for. Because not just simply getting a gun and somebody, you see somebody to watch your cut eye and they say, I feel and threaten to watch me up and down, and they look like they was doing me something, and I shoot them 10 times. Or somebody invade your place and they come with a cutlass in their hand or a knife in their hand. And you pull out a gun and hit them 25 shots and say, you stand your ground. Then we need to understand this thing properly, and the opposition leader is the one supposed to be talking to people, not just party group and PNM people, all peoples, because the UNC come in on this agenda that the city people vote them in to bring stand your ground, so they ain't consulting with nobody. But we are hearing nothing. Me are hearing nothing. Donna, no reply to Donna. Donna, I see you are a death in the family. I want to tell you all God's love to you and condolences coming from the Levy Talk the Ting family. Yeah. So Donna has lost somebody, and thank you still. You still make it to listen. Thank you so much. So what I saying again, people, and tell me if I'm wrong, you know, or tell me if I'm wrong with what I'm saying. April the 28th, you all had the opportunity to put back the PNM in office. Some of you decide or they don't like how Dr. Rowley put Stuart Young, this Chinese man. Okay, I hear that. But all they say, don't think that the bigger picture is better we have a Stuart Young and a PNM in office than we have a UNC and a Kamala in office. All they think about that. And some of them let people from the PNM and some of the PNM people who do it all the wicked at Trinidad and Tobago. For going and tell people, don't vote for UN, don't vote for PNM, because as Stuart Young, let the PNM lost, or let go build back PNM. All who was doing that, all the wicked, or let the answer to God, the most almighty God boy, or let the answer for that wickedness. All they do to this country, boy. All they'll have to answer to the almighty, the true living God for the wickedness. Whoever was going around in constituencies and telling people to vote for Stuart Young and the PNM, but how we in this thing we in here now and talking about all go build back PNM. Build it back with what? And all I want to know why I vex, I must be vexed. All they gamble with the lives of the citizens of this country, boy. And come not smiling to tell me stupid about it, go build back and Black Party. It's a party for all people, they will fail with that. They have a black caucus, it mash up, NJAC, mash up. What stupidness all I want to tell people that's our boy. You tell all the April 28th, go and vote the People's National Movement, or they ain't go because who chain all the poor, and look what we have now. Look what we have now. The woman says she go lock up all the children, the criminal offense. The police will be called, they go get locked up. It ain't no my lot, it ain't no my part, it ain't no CCC, it ain't no white tape for them again. They go make jail. The woman bringing stand your ground laws where all they even understand what it means. All they feel all they get a gun, as somebody come in all the place, all they go shoot them down and say stand your ground. It could be your own family come back, they forget the keys and they come back inside and you hear the tussling outside, feel somebody breaking in. You pull out the gun, stand your ground, you hype up and shoot when you look is your husband lying on the ground, your child lying down on the ground, boy. So they continue with all the emotions. I don't be my emotions, but I be thinking logical because at the end of the day, all my emotions run me. I will run my emotions. My emotion can run me and have me to talk and stupidness and whatever. Everything I say I can remember, no matter how much I raise my voice and raise my voice. I just remember what I said because I'm talking from a place, a passion, not just hyping myself. And what some of them do to this country, all they will regret it. All they will regret it. Friday, people. Love you all. Let me see all who here. Kim, Laurel, Chrissy, Sherry, Keith, Diane, Gavin, Andrew, Charles, Rosemary, Philo, June, Lucy, Owen, Ruthven, Errol, Beverly, Christine, Dion, Alicia, Rhonda, Hayden, Cynthia, Dandy, Tessa, Vilma, Kathleen, Denise Reed, Denise Nicholas, Denise Reed, Angela Rodriguez Lacroix, Anne-Marie Rosanna, Caprice, Black Pearl, Taurus, Yvonne, Jenny, Hollister, Judy, Merle, Ezra, Herbert, Keisha, Kerwin, Nika, Cheryl, Naomi, Christopher, Allison, Stephanie, Elsa, Anne-Marie Grant, Carlton, Shirley, Nadia, Sharon, Mary Hare, Noel Campbell, Taylor, Tony, Arlene, Anna, Javon, De Freitas, Donna, Cecilia, Valerie, Oscar, Helena Soras from Pleasantville, E.A. Shorty, Hadara, Maria, Figaro, Leonard, Galen, Anton, Heather, Emmeline, Sarah, Margaret, Robert, Nicole. Today's Friday, people. Weekend is here. Be safe out there. While we pray without works is dead. So while we pray, we have to do the work. Let us spread the truth. Don't spread no lies. And if the truth offends people, don't have to get over it. And nothing I say here tonight, I regret it or I am afraid to say it again, because it's all in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago. I even want to save Kamala Prasad, the Cessa, and the UNC supporters from themselves. Because at the end of the day, it's our love. I don't hate the woman. I don't hate she supporters. I'm not about that. It's about equal right and justice. Me ain't perfect. I will never get it right 100%, but I just do my best. And I could stand on what I say. And I stand on the shoulders of women and fighters who go before and pave the way for me. I don't know about all here. I stand on the shoulders of people like Elmer Francois, Daisy Quick. I stand on the shoulders of people like Maria Makiba. I stand on the shoulders of them warriors, Nani from Jamaica. I stand on the shoulders of Queen Nefertari. I stand on the shoulders of these strong revolutionary women. I do what I do for love of Trinidad and Tobago. This here, I know I born here. I love here. We have problems. Yes, we have. We have crime. Yes, we have. But we're not worse than any other country. But Kamala Prasad, this and this UNC, I don't know what is the mission. I don't know with this deflection thing with Venezuela. I don't know if it's a deflection. All of a sudden you want to cause what it is. Or let's so hail toward yourself. That's all you want to pull everybody down with all you. All they living nice, you get palace big, wall going up, all their money nice, all they have business, nobody not jealous all here. Why all they want to pull win all this shoppiness at all here, boy? Who all the personal it, all they deal it out and leave you out of that now? Leave you out of that shoppiness now, boy. We want to live here and build this country, boy, for we children to come. We Indian children, we Chinese children, all children, boy. What are they doing that for? And what I love about this country, at the end of the day, it will always have something, will put a smile on your face, as bad as it is. And to be honest, when I read this, it put a smile on my face. This is a post, a comment from, I wouldn't call the person name, but this is what it said. I just want Venezuela to know that our Prime Minister is speaking for herself. We are certain and can assure you that the lady is drunk. We don't want any heat. Thanks in advance. And that really make me laugh in the heat, everything, because I could see somebody at Trinidad and really writing something like that. And that is who we are. If we had to stand and defend it, we would do it, but don't put we no back and all thing just so. We have people just, we let a quarrel escalate, we think we go sit down have a fun. Guys, wait about it, don't want to stand your ground. Let us utilize our self-defense laws, strengthen it some way, use it. We have laws here already to defend ourselves. Why you need to bring somebody law from outside that's not working for them? In Florida, that law is not working. Crime has escalated, gun violence has escalated, homicides has escalated in Florida. And is that law they want to bring and implement here? Florida has more millions and millions of people than we are 1.5 million. Let us utilize our self-defense laws. Let them build on it. Let us encourage our members and parliament to look at our self-defense laws and you work it to suit us. Don't bring other people things for them medicine to bring it for we. Use what we have. Why they can't do that? All the answer me now. I saw plenty. All they don't know we already have self-defense laws already. Why they can't use it and make it more adaptable or make it more strength or whatever? But they could use that. Why not to come with something that say you have an obligation to do nothing more than shoot somebody if you feel? So anybody can watch you any type of when you feel. Because you have a firearm and they say, well, watch me so funny, but what happened? And just shoot the person. Somebody mash you. They turn and watch you. You have your dismay and a shoot out there. Them thing real, all you feel them things sounding funny, and they sounding stupid, and you're sleeping in the night, you hear a little noise in the kitchen, your child get up to go on for something to eat, you get paranoid thinking you pull your gun, you go in the kitchen, see and like the thing, Papa when you look at your child on the ground. Or your child get the gun and go on to school for a next child. And when I hear the shout, they shoot up the school, shoot up children, all kind of thing. And then the child turned and said it was bullying me, and I stand my ground. All these things are possible scenarios because it does happen. And then country would stand your ground laws. So people, I just saying, let me think about this thing. Put emotion aside. I know there are people hurting, people lost loved one, people fed up at the crime. I understand that. I can't take that away from others. But don't let we go and get something that could make the situation even worse. And then you turn and bawl and say, oh God, if I didn't know. It's the same thing with the PNM people who didn't go out and vote. Hear what they say now. I should not take on them. I should have go and vote, boy. I should have go and vote. Oh God, let me don't go with this shoulda, coulda, woulda, now. Please, I beg you all now. Don't go with this shoulda, coulda, woulda, now. And PNM and the executive who want to get in there, all this are set of failures, boy. You know all these failures? Because all they ain't do all they're supposed to do and put in the position we in now. And right now the opposition leader, in my opinion, I don't care who cuss me, is a failure in my eye because she is saying nothing. Don't send out nobody to say nothing for you. You talk, let them follow. You have to lead, let them follow. Not them leading and you quiet behind. What kind of stupid thing is that, boy? Well, have a blessed evening. I love you all, and again, condolences to the person who lost a loved one and a family. And we'll see you all on Monday, God's Spirit, and I come with something fresh, something new. This is a girl Ginger and Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. If you want to get formal, it's Miss Jennifer Frederick, another additional let me talk to you. I love you, know. It's about love with me, you know. But love don't mean to say that you have to. No, I tell you as it is, because when all they have problem with me, all they just tell me, I just have to treat and deal with it. So why we can't tell all you? Why we can't tell all you? That's all we say. I go on, yes.